Hello and welcome back, everyone, to this wonderful episode in this series. And today we have with us Jay. Hi, Jay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. So, we would love to start with your introduction. Would you mind sharing about yourself? What do you do, and what's your journey?
So my name is Jay Makwana. I'm 24, and the way I started was during the college time. I was very much interested in doing everything that is not taught in my college. So I started in the lockdown learning economics, and during that I came up across this course called blockchain and economics, uh, and then from there I studied the economically how the blockchain ecosystem works. And as I was a computer engineer, uh, I started learning. I was coming across a term called smart contracts while learning the economics of it. So as an engineer, I thought I should dwell into it, and I started building those smart contracts. In the fourth year of my college, I got an internship at Zero Code Labs. They were into many accelerators like Brink, YC, and many others like L'Oreal. So it was a remote opportunity for me working with some of the amazing minds. And of course, after that, I worked 2.5 years at that Zero Code Labs. And we raised some money. We won Polygon Village. We won many other things. We helped with created bunch of products, and then at the end, of course, the cycle ends because crypto is a very fragile and volatile market. So from there, like from last 9 to 10 months, I'm doing bunch of freelancing with my friends, and what else I'm also doing is trying to find what I want to do. Like from what I understand is like the thing I've been looking for is like high agency. So I'm building thinking about how I can do things better, how I can get more opportunities. This is also like an opportunity, right? You are in my Telegram inbox and me saying yes to this and me preparing for this. Similar to that, I came across Uniswap Hook Incubator. So currently I am enrolled in Uniswap Hook Incubator. The deadline for Hook's idea submission is 25th, and during the last 5 weeks, I have been very much into like what do I want to build in terms of Hook, and I'm trying to solve a problem called impermanent loss and yield systems, and there are so many ways you can look at a problem, and at this moment I think I'm doing a final draft of what my solution to that problem is going to be, and in next 3 weeks I'm going to completely prepare it and submit it and hopefully win that hackathon.
Wow, that should be the confidence share, and it's really amazing to know about your journey and how you started, and then one by one you got opportunities, and now here we are talking on a podcast, and you sharing all the efforts that you put through. That's really amazing. So, would you like to tell more about what do they do in Uniswap Hook Incubator once you get in, and how the application process look like, and specifically how you made your application so that you get to be a part of this program, and a little bit more about Polygon Village grant recipient, because I guess you're a Polygon Village grant recipient. I got to know it from your Twitter.
Yeah, so it is easy. I don't know is it easy or hard because I don't know what they want. Like, so for Uniswap, it was really something like Uniswap Hook Incubator. I joined there. I gave all the description, what I wanted in DeFi, what my past experiences. I built some systems which has to do with tokenomics and everything, which was more of a social DeFi thing, which we will talk about in the Polygon Village thing after this. But I filled up that form. I knew about Uniswap 8 as well, but Uniswap 9 was something I wanted to join because of the theme. It was impermanent loss and yield system. And after that, I had a call. After that, after a week of me submitting that form, I got a call, and I did. I was like this only. I wasn't well prepared. I had some things about how do an impermanent loss can be fixed. I had already researched on impermanent loss versus rebalance and stuff, like how I can do a surplus arbitrage to compensate for the liquidity providers. So that was the whole thing I was thinking about, and I also talked to the person who was taking my interview, and I got in, and yeah, and Uniswap Hook Incubator 9 has been smooth ride until now. Like the instructors, Tom Wade, every week you get two to three people from Uniswap ecosystem, and people who I don't think I would like have to, if I had to connect with them, it would be only via a cold DM, and the probability would be less. But being an high agency guy, of course, you want to do that. But here I am getting a warm introduction with the kind of people. They're getting an insight of how they view at a problem. Is very nice. In terms of Polygon Village was a ride, amazing ride. It was at a junction where we were formulating something which had to do with social DeFi. Uh, we were getting a bit of traction. We were launching a pilot in the buy, but we got in at that time. We got into Polygon Village, which is like 100K grant. And during that phase, like I was we are building a DeFi, social DeFi thing, and I am the only Solidity engineer at that company, which is very small company in my. It was a company with 4 to 5 people, right? So yeah, so it gave me a lot of perspective of, and it would be in 4 to 5 tranches, and me completing all the tranches from my side, like my responsibility in getting everything done. It was a nice ride. Everything was good. Of course, I got to learn. Oh, if so, for example, if I had to learn about tokenomics, I had to go, and I didn't had a senior to ask, "Hey man, can you teach me about tokenomics?" But we had AI, we had everything else, right? So I get an opportunity to look into this stuff, and so this is like from what I understand. Like if you need to be high agency, and you need to be curious enough to succeed in this industry. And yeah, like I'm trying to do some stuff at the moment. Hopefully things pan off.
That's amazing to know, Jay. And as you're a blockchain engineer, and as you said that this blockchain market is quite fragile and volatile. Sometimes it's bullish, and sometimes it's like bearish. So we would love to know, as per your experience of blockchain and building in smart contract, what practical steps a person can follow if they wanted to start now into this field, right? And particularly, is there any scope in this field specifically, depending on the current scenarios that we are seeing these days? What do you suggest?
So from my understanding, you if you want to join an industry, you are first of all curious about that industry, and you have some prerequisite that industry requires. If you are a computer grad, if you are, let's say, if you are a civil engineer, right? If you are a civil engineer, the scope of experimentation is very limited in terms of the capex required. You required a lot of permission to experiment things. So if I was a civil engineer, I would require first of all builders and other thing, and lot of capex to experiment something. But in terms of blockchain, or even if the whole computer engineer is a, it's like an IT thing. Like you can experiment anything, right? The cost of experimentation is very low. So I think I wouldn't say like, okay, come to blockchain or come to AI or come to all those things. There are so many, there is so much you can do, post quantum, whatever, right? But it is all about what you want to do. Because if you, assuming you are an high agency guy, you are not asking me a question. You're not asking me a question, but you are validating should I or should I not. And the only thing is by experimentation. And we live in a times when with the AI, you can do whatever experiments you want. You can just think of something which would require so much team and so much effort 3 years ago, and now you can just research it so much well, right? So, for example, like for this hackathon only, like me creating my research doc, which would be citing 150 plus research sites and all those documentation, and me using Claude research on that, and then building some of my perspective. It is much more evolved. I'm experimenting stuff, and I would also recommend the person, if he or she is asking me a question about that, should experiment. There's no other thing than experimentation.
Okay, experimentation is really important. That's really nice. Let me put it this way. Suppose if you start your journey into blockchain and smart contract engineer right now, so how you'll start and what would be your steps?
I would understand something like there are so many venues out there, right? There is Dev3 pack and other stuff which would enable you to do better. Something I personally was never good at was networking and this kind of soft skill communication. Like I was if if 3 years ago you would have texted me on Telegram, I would just have left it with an emoji, thumbs up or thumbs down. And I think networking is very important, and understanding what other peoples are building. And so I used to be a very internal guy. Like everything for me is very internal. I don't look for external validation and everything like that. But I would suggest do more networking, do more. There are people who are willing to help you out. Like there is Uniswap Incubator. There is so many incubators out there. So many other things out there. Be open minded, and yeah, I wouldn't say that okay, now you do this, then do that, do the and like three four other things, because that wouldn't be a natural thing to me. Like if things come up, like we live in an abundance of opportunity at the moment. I can do AI, I can do blockchain, I can do so many things. I can do full stack, I can do backend, I can do DevOps, everything, and more from what is not even explored. Yeah? So I wouldn't say myself that okay, take this path and follow this path. I would say do your experiments there, take some wins, take some losses, and move on.
Nice, pretty insightful, Jay. Now, moving forward, as AI is booming these days and quite a couple of years, so how do you use AI in your work to become 10x productive?
Of course, as I earlier said about researching, right? So AI helps in researching a lot. You can, of course, the Claude research mode is goated. Uh, um, I don't use much of agentic at the moment, but of course, I the Claude code is good. Uh, I believe like AI is also like what you it's an abundance. You use it. I use it in terms like first of all I research, I then document, then I create steps I want to follow, and then carefully orchestrate so that I get a good final product. And yeah, that's what I currently use at. But after completing the UH, I think I'm going to more focus on AI stuff that I have some sort of a roadmap I have prepared for myself, which is not very clear at the moment. But yeah, I would like to deep dive into that, because like there is X402 and all those stuff, which is an interconnection between crypto and AI, and how like AI is scraping your data, but how you can monetize your data, how you can look at agentic to create moves in terms of DeFi. There's so much opportunity out there. I always believe in abundance.
Wow, that's the best phrase that you used, Jay. Nice. So moving forward, would like to know, as you said, there are a lot of opportunities, right? So how do you get to know about these opportunities, and specifically, how do you got to know about DevRel Uni? And so far in the program, it's been 3 classes, right? What you have learned that you want to share in this podcast to our audience?
The way I got into DevRel was by scrolling on Twitter, and I saw this opportunity. And of course, if you see an opportunity and you are if you see an opportunity, your rate of success is probably 50-50 or whatever the chances, right? If I had a good profile, it would be 80%. But if I don't fill that form, it is always going to be 0%, right? So that is something I done. I wrote, was asked, and I got in. In terms of what I felt in the DevRel thing was, I just wanted to understand. See, I live in a bubble, right? If we think about engineering bubble, if I'm in UHI, I'm meeting a lot of people who are interested in DeFi, and there will be some intersection of that, right? They will be doing some other stuff, but I just wanted to be in a different room. So I assume you are not a engineer or a dev, right? From what I know,
Yeah.
and there will be many other kind of people who are doing some sort of marketing, some sort of AI stuff. And I think if you want to grow, you need to experiment with different rooms as well to get their perspective on things. And this was my only goal when I came to DevRel University. I like the way people, if you go to the engineering circle, they would always talk about how I can add this feature, how I can make improve this feature, how it is solving a problem. And when I came to DevRel, from what I believe, it was all about distribution. So, for example, you are doing something with girls who code and other stuff, right? And it's all about distribution. You can build the best product, but if it doesn't have the distribution and people who needs that product don't know about you, it is not going to be as big as you envision it to be. So that is something I learned about thing. Of course, the Dabbit, what his name is.
Needed a bit.
Yeah, I saw his session and it was amazing. He also talked about high agency in some sense, right?
Yeah, he was
Go look
previously
for
a dev.
opportunity.
Previously a dev, then DevRel, and now working in growth domain.
Yeah, and which is all about experimentation and being high agency, looking for opportunities and just being present to opportunities so you can take take them on when they come in.
Nice, nice. So, what are you building in DevRel Uni these days? We would love to know, and why.
So from what I understood was storytelling is important. I'm not a storyteller. So from what I understood was, okay, I'm going to this journey of 9 weeks in Uniswap Incubator, and it is intersecting with the 4 weeks of DevRel University. So what I did was I created a base post, like a post where I talked about I'm going to go in Uniswap Incubator, and I'm trying to build something, and I'm quote retweeting about my journey, like what I'm studying in terms of what is my research thing, what happened this week. Maybe I'm not out there kind of thing, but I'm posting at least once or twice in a week about it. It cannot be if it not it can be non elaborative, but I'm trying to be out there because as I told you, like I'm not a external kind of guy. I want to understand it and I want to connect with people like minded or people who are different from my field. So I am trying to do that. Uh, and that is something I correlate as my DevRel Uni project,
Nice.
an extension from my.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that is really important. The art of storytelling is a must, and it can take and it can take a person from zero to one if they know how to tell a story, even if the product is not that much valuable. So that's really nice to know, Jay, that you're
So,
putting yourself out there, right? I would love to check your
yeah.
all of your tweets and all the links, all the profiles, all the programs that are mentioned in this discussion, guys. You're watching it will be available in the description. You can just head over to it and check it out. And Twitter profile and LinkedIn profile of Jay would also be there. Just don't forget to connect with him, okay? Because he wants to connect with you, like-minded people who are who are in his field or maybe different from his field. Nice. So moving
Yeah, and
forward, Jay.
hopefully
Yeah.
product is good. Hopefully, the product is good as well.
Yes, definitely. Why not? Okay, cool. So, Jay, any three advices and three mistakes that you want to share with our audience from which they can learn? Life advices that you experienced in life.
I think it is very difficult to answer this. So I would say like an advice would be something like be open to stuff which is not something immediate to you. So like I'm not a media guy, I'm not a marketing guy. Why I'm on a podcast? So and like if an opportunity arrives, for example, if AI, I'm not. So when I came here, you profiled me as a blockchain guy, right? Because that is what I have put out at the moment. But that doesn't mean I'm a blockchain guy only. Don't be just yin or a yang, but think of it as a, okay, I am a tech guy. I can do anything I want. Like I don't like before I became a blockchain guy. I was a guy who wanted to try few stuff, and then I experimented and I went to blockchain that, and then I will experiment and do something else, and I became DeFi. If I experiment more and I became AI plus DeFi or whatever the next thing is, or post quantum thing that can be. So yeah, please don't box yourself. Look out for opportunities. The world is abundant, and manifest your way out of it, and always lock in. And something I would say is like mistakes. It would be networking. I would like to network with.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeff, for all the insights, all the deep experiences, and your work, and all the valuable stuff that you shared on this podcast. I hope that will be valuable for all the people who are watching this. And yeah, with this, we close the podcast. And thank you so much, Jeff, for coming and for your valuable time. Have a good day ahead.
Thank you.
Bye.